What's going on, everybody? It's the 27th of April. I'm just going to talk about the Aussie dollar because I find this chart pretty fascinating technically. It's really interesting to follow, and I'm quite enjoying trading it. So I'm just going to talk about what I see here, starting off with this swing high around 78.15. This has become important now. And then this swing low around 75.63, and then we broke this swing high back here in February. Had a nice breakout, looked like we were going to go higher, put in this bearish engulfing pattern, and we sold off. We closed back inside this swing high. We tested again, confirming that perhaps this was a false breakout. And then we sold off, but we didn't come and test this swing low. This is interesting because after you put in this swing high and this false breakout, you're kind of creating a head and shoulders pattern. This being the left shoulder, this being the head, and then this being the right shoulder. But in fact, it wasn't, because we haven't tested the neckline again. So this is the neckline. This isn't a true test of the neckline. You can see there's a gap here before we get tested. So if you jumped the gun and traded a break of this neckline, you would have got stung. You would have got stung because now we've closed back inside, and this is actually the forming of the right shoulder. This is a test of the neckline. This is a true test of the left shoulder. And now see where we go. It's interesting because there's also this trend line here that has played a part. You can see it's acted as support a few times, only twice really. But then we haven't managed to close back above that yet. We kind of closed on it yesterday, and now we are falling back below it after we put a test in of the left shoulder high. So we're kind of forming the right shoulder now. So if we were to sell off back down towards the 75.60 area, then this would actually be the head and shoulders, not this one. So if you would have jumped the gun thinking this head and shoulders are formed, you would have paid the price on the short. But it looks like we could be forming the right shoulder now. Obviously, there's a long way to go. How many pips? Like another 200 pips before we get down there, or maybe more than that. But anyway, let's narrow it down now, and we're going to look at the hourly time frame. And what do we see on the hourly? Well, we see neckline. Hang on, let me draw this up for you. Yeah, sorry. This is the range, the higher the range. This is a swing low now. We didn't break through it. We then formed the head on a break of the left shoulder. We closed back in. We tested the neckline. We created the right shoulder. And this was actually a head and shoulders pattern, but the same thing happened. If you would have traded this head and shoulders pattern on a break short of the neckline, then you would have got stung here. So this is a false breakout. We then rejected this head and shoulders pattern and traded all the way up to the highs which we tested yesterday. It wasn't a true test, but we did. It is a we didn't test the exact high, but it was a good enough test. Now, if you don't get exactly to the high of this swing high, or even break through it a little bit, this can be, although we're talking like 1 pip here, this could be a sign of weakness by the bulls because they weren't even able to test that exact high. People might say that's bullshit, but this is just a scenario that I play out in my head. So this is my first sign of weakness. The second sign of weakness is that since then we sold off overnight, and And then before market opens in London, we have this rally. We test this trend line on the daily chart, and also big round number, which is important. And now we're selling off. I mean, in fact, we sold straight through pivot point and the overnight support. So where do we go from here? Well, anyone's guess really. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but it looks like, especially after this high put in on a swing high like this, and a test of a rejection of this support area and also this daily trend line, it looks to me like we could come all the way back to this neckline of this hourly head and shoulders pattern, which failed, by the way, and come back to this big round number 0.77 area. There's a few things to overcome. First of all, we got this pivotal area, which is resistance and support. In the past, over this last couple of weeks, you can see it's clearly a pivotal area. So this is the first target here, 77.61, after a break out from the lows here. So I'm keeping my eye on here, keep my eye on S1, but also the ultimate goal would be all the way down to S2, and this area confluence with these lows, previous neckline support for this head and shoulders pattern that failed, and big round number. So that is what I'm looking for at this Aussie dollar. Hope that makes sense. Probably didn't, but anyway, good luck trading.